soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force. You are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. You will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory.
What's going on, everybody? Cigar Titan here once again for another round of, well, you know the name. Come on now. It's Smoke Signals and Side Quests, episode 0.8. That's right. We had episode 0.5. Then we had episode 0.7. We missed episode 0.6 for some reason. I don't know why. Don't ask me. But here we are, episode 0.8. And today is officially June 6th, 2026. So we are remembering D-Day today. We ran a little video there at the beginning of the intro, so I'll give you guys a little bit of a history lesson there. It's great stuff there that we wanted to make sure that we shared with all of you. But we're going to go ahead and get on with the show here. So first to the stage, when he's not out supporting mostly peaceful protests, he's here chilling with us, Redbeard Riot.
You know how I like some mostly peaceful protests.
That's right. How are you, sir?
We like to get down. Doing good, buddy. We're doing good. It's been a week. It's been a good one. We're right in the middle of getting my dog, who is this is Pickle, by the way, for anybody who's unfamiliar. Getting my dog some treatments. She's been having some pretty severe arthritis going on for a couple of months now, and so we've been trying a few things, and nothing has really been doing the job. So we started in with some injections. Words are hard. With some injections that she's responding well to, which is good. She's had 5 so far of a total of they start you out with like 8 within like every like 4 days. She's going to get an injection, and we're into that. She's come and started asking me to take her for walks again, so that's good. And once we've rounded out this initial step, we'll be able to potentially, hopefully, switch over to a once a month type of thing. Good. And see how that goes. So Fingers crossed, everybody. Fingers crossed, everyone. Come on, let's go.
Yes.
Let's see it. Come on, put it in the chat. Come on.
All right. Well, hey, when he's not walking around with a grumpy look on his face, he's letting the ladies curl his hair.
Who are we talking about?
I know what you're thinking. What are you talking about? Who are we talking about? We're talking about Sergeant Grumpy Pants. How are you, sir?
Oh dear Lord, I love that intro. Thank you so much
Welcome
for that.
in.
Yes. When I'm
Welcome
not
in,
walking
darling.
around with the grumpy look on my face, I'm letting the ladies curl my hair. That's absolutely 110% true. My daughter, I asked her if she could curl my hair today. She curled my hair a few days ago, and it was literally one of those things. She showed me this new device. It's a curling iron that you don't even have to take the hair and wrap it around anything. It self-winds.
Oh,
which is really kind of cool. Space age tech, so to speak. And she got it from one of the stores, I think it's like Sally Beauty. She paid almost $200 for this thing. And I was like, wow, what they won't think of next with the tech. It's amazing.
Wait till you get your hair caught in that motor.
And that was one of those things I was afraid of. I was like, if it gets sucked up in a gyro and ripped out a lock or a strand of hair, I'm going to be kind of upset. But that didn't actually happen. So, my week, pretty easy. Really, I did a motorcycle oil change today. Took the girls to go see He-Man, Masters of the Universe. Oh, sorry, just Masters.
I bet your motorcycle loved it.
It did. It really did. Getting that lubrication is something that all heavy machinery really enjoys in order for it to, operate smoothly, so to speak. No binding, less friction. It's always a good idea. Sand is not a lubricant. Took them to go see Masters of the Universe yesterday. Really fun. My oldest said, I really want to see it again. And I was like, oh, yes, we're doing something right here, because she's actually appreciating stuff that's very nostalgic for, I think, all three of us, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that was like the pinnacle of boy entertainment in 1983 when that first came out. That was a great one. I love that one. And then I think the most dramatic thing that happened was my oldest daughter recently just got stung on the back of her neck by a tarantula hawk. These things are beastly. They're pretty huge. Ooh. They actually kill tarantulas as a wasp. So yeah, she was none too happy about that. I have video. I wanted to load it up and show you guys. But I don't want to mess with tech too much, because I don't want to upset the computer gods out there with anything that's going on. So, but just needless to say, she was stung. It hurt, but she's alive, not allergic, and she's good to go. But she took it like a champ.
You said it's called a tarantula hawk, right? I think I've seen.
Correct. It is called a tarantula hawk.
I've seen these before.
Is anything like a chicken hawk?
Not as big as a chicken hawk.
Nah.
They're quite large, are they not?
They are. This one was about as big as my pinky. Now, just for reference, here's the length of my pinky from my eye down to my cheekbone. Yep, them's right there. If you want, I could try to upload the video where she gets stung and she's like, ow. And then my youngest, who was in the spa with her as well, freaked the ever-loving hell out, came running to the door while I was inside playing video games. They were in the spa by themselves. And she's like, Dad, come quick. She's been bit by a cockroach. And I was like, cockroaches don't bite. What the hell are you talking about?
I would just like to say, what the hell is even that? This is not Australia.
There are some cockroaches that bite, though. That is a real thing.
Are there? I heard that they're like down in Texas when I went through basic, they were like, the cockroaches are huge, but they only hiss. They didn't really actually bite or anything of that nature. So I've never heard of biting cockroaches. Please enlighten me, because I don't know what that is.
I am not the cockroach expert here.
Expert.
I have been loosely informed that there are actually cockroaches that bite. So we'll go ahead and attempt to bring this up now.
I'll bet you somebody in the chat knows.
That's my youngest.
You give her.
Listen. That's the video right there. That's
Did you give her
What's that?
Did you give her a scolding for running on the pool deck?
Honestly, in the time of emergency, I was like, you know what, you kind of trotted, you ran a little bit, sure, but at the same time, you didn't get hurt to like add to the insult to injury, because tarantula hawk sting plus a fall and a smacking your head on the ground, or a broken arm or a leg or sprained ankle, anything could have happened, obviously, but I'm kind of glad it didn't. But yeah, my youngest was the one who freaked out more. My oldest was just, you hear in the very beginning of the video, she goes, "Ow! Can you go get your dad, please?" And then the youngest is just like, "Ah!" That's all you heard.
Did you guys actually see it once it stung her?
Well, I absolutely did. I went out there. The video continues, and I didn't capture that. Wasn't that important, but I went out there and I was like, "What is going on?" She was like, "There's something in my hair." And I was like, "Okay, let me see." It's really dark. There's hardly any streetlights out here. And I had to take the flashlight from my phone, and I perused her head. Well, she just recently dyed all of her hair jet black from where it was like a dirty dishwater blonde type of color. So it was much, much darker. And as the picture of the tarantula hawk that you pulled up earlier, you see in the dark, they look black. In the sunlight, they're like a dark green, bluish, metallic kind of color, but they're very, very dark. The only thing that stands out on them are their orange wings. And my oldest daughter was just like, "It's in my hair." I was like, "What are you talking about? What's in your hair?" She's like, it's in my hair. So I'm like, "All right, well, let me see real quick." So I took my flashlight and I perused down the side of her head, and sure enough, I see it crawling up the strands of wet hair dangling on the left side of her body. And I was like, "Oh, that is not a cockroach. That is a tarantula hawk, 110%. Wait right here." At first I tried taking the towel and like flapping it off, but it was so tangled in her wet hair, like it just wouldn't dislodge or budge. So I had to I went and got a kitchen mitt, right? Because I was like, "Just don't move, it'll be fine." Went and got a kitchen mitt, and I literally grabbed it, palmed it, threw it on the ground, stomped on it, and the thing was still moving. And it was still moving to the point where you see me in the video, I bend over and I just start punching this thing. Like I'm wailing on it. I was like the only thing I could think of to do, because I threw it in the rocks, and the rocks were giving, and it was spreading, and it was just getting pounded down lower and lower and lower in the rocks. So I was like, grind it down like I'm making bread, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, it was literally a tarantula hawk, and the fact that it was as resilient as it was. I mean, these things were built with like tanks with wings of the animal world, or the insect world, I should say.
I have a slight suggestion for you, which is,
what's up?
While the creature is still on the person, maybe downplay that a little bit. Rather than, "Oh, that's a tarantula hawk." How about,
"Yeah,
I think that's just a leaf. Hold still and I'll get it." We can decide what it was. We can decide what it was later. You have Satan in your hair. Don't move.
That's exactly what I did. So, but we got it taken care of. She got stung, and then she started feeling the residual venom effects, so to speak. And that's what I think really hurt her the most, because when you hear her in the video, she just goes, "Ow." Okay. That was it.
Yeah. Well, I knew exactly what it was, because the fiance was actually on the phone with your fiance at the time, and they were having themselves a little discussion, and your fiance got off very abruptly and took off, and she's like, "Oh yeah," she was saying that she got stung by a tarantula hawk, and I was like, "Why do I know that name?" And then it started to dawn on me. I'm like, "Oh yeah," because I watched this episode on YouTube where there's a couple of guys that go around and they find all of these different animals and insects, and they'll purposely allow them to sting them or bite them, and then they measure the sting and the bite and stuff like that. So it was not something I was like, "Okay, she'll be fine, it's gonna be painful." I was like, but it's not a deadly sting or anything like that.
No, nothing like that. I mean, it could have been if she was allergic to it, but thankfully enough, she was not. So that was always nice. We didn't even have to dose her with Benadryl or anything like that. So just had to endure kind of the stinging sensation where the site was, and it was a little tender for a couple days, but I think she's fine now. She's good.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Well, we've got some riffraff coming up, and we've got two topics for you this week on what we like to call Retro Hail Riffraff. All right. Well, like I said earlier, we've got 2 topics for you this week for our segment Retro Hail Riff Raff. And I think what we'll do, because this is what I have on the run sheet here, is we'll start off with the movie review. Now, from what I understand, the both of you actually had the opportunity this weekend to go out and see the new He-Man movie. And I said review. I don't mean review, but more of a recap per discussion type thing here. But is that correct? Both you gentlemen have the opportunity to go out and see that?
I did see it. I saw it this morning.
Okay. We can't hear
I saw
your
it last night.
head knob. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Awesome. Well, Red Beer Right, I will turn it over to you then to talk to us a little bit about the new He-Man movie.
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, look, obviously don't want to give too many spoilers going on
Will there be
here.
spoilers?
No, I'm gonna attempt to avoid spoilers.
All right.
I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here and get a little bit of a refresher on what we really need here. Who doesn't?
Yes.
I mean, yeah. This is peak 5-year-old.
What are we looking at here, gentlemen?
Amazing. We're looking at He-Man, the Masters of the Universe, circa 1983, 84.
And this is the
83.
animated TV series we have up here, correct?
Yes, this is the animated series. This is what started it all.
I love that. He-Man, that takes me back. So great.
Did any of you have He-Man toys growing up?
So here's the thing:
Oh, yeah.
is this is going to take you back for just a moment to one of my very first Christmas memories. All right, my family had moved out of state. My father was working on a business venture with his brother, and that was not going super well. I was probably about 5 years old here. And Christmas time come a rolling around. And the thing of it is that coming from a good sized family,
Yeah. Sure.
hey,
There's what, 11
we'll say moderate. The money wasn't exactly rolling in, and we all had sort of a keen awareness that Christmas was not going to happen this year, right?
Okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, there was not. Christmas was not happening.
Did Ebenezer Scrooge not pay your dad his tuppence?
There wasn't much tuppence to be paid, and in any event, somebody, don't know who until this day, broke into our home, put up a Christmas tree, and laid out presents for all of the little boys and girls. Wasn't my parents.
Miracle.
And I got He-Man, action figure, doll, right? But action figure.
Not a doll. It is
Action
not a
figure.
doll.
Action figure.
Yes.
For boys, my brother got Skeletor and Battle Damage. By the way, these are battle damage action figures.
What is a battle
Those are good.
damage action figure? You're going to need to explain
Battle
that.
damage version, and I should have taken a minute to pull it up, but essentially all it is it's the same exact thing, but He-Man and Skeletor have a pinwheel in their chest, and it starts out just looking totally normal, but if you smack it, it spins over and it gets like a slash through it. And then if you smack it again, it spins again and it gets a second slash through it. So this was battle damage He-Man. He'd be fighting with Skeletor, getting some damage. In any case, that was. Oh yes, here you go.
That's it right there, buddy.
That was that was one of my first Christmas. That's the first Christmas that I can physically remember. And so He-Man was one of my heroes as a 5-year-old little boy. Probably a lot of people out there can relate to that. That being said, this movie was a fun popcorn movie, but it disappointed me. It did.
Really?
And that's not even. I am not a super fan, right? I haven't looked at He-Man for 30 years, probably. Okay, so I don't follow this stuff religiously. That's not my thing. I'm an adult.
I'm a grown ass man.
Sorry,
I don't play with toys.
But I think the thing with this particular movie was that it had a ton of potential, and in some places they really capitalized on that and did a great job, right? On the look, on the imagery. Okay. They captured the style very, very well. You need to go take care of something there, Sergeant Grumpy Pants. We got another hawk moth.
No, I think that's literally outdoors, unavoidable noise from neighbors, I suppose.
Crazy kids. Do your old man thing. Do your old Sergeant Grumpy Pants thing.
Yeah.
Get off my goddamn rocks!
Yeah.
So it had the aesthetic. It had the look that
the aesthetic was down.
Commercial or a cartoon had.
The substance, unfortunately, was not there. And I'll tell you what I mean, which is this movie felt a little bit like it was written by a committee. And there was one group of people who was in charge of, including like some funny dialogue, which sometimes is funny, sometimes is a little bit. Sometimes it gets a little cringy. It just depends. Sometimes it's great. And here's what I mean. It's just like there's like some committee involved where some of it's really good, and then it'll just like hit a speed bump, and then all of a sudden you're like, what did I just what's happening right now? And so they apparently did this by committee. There's moments where the movie is supposed to be very serious, right? And it has a hard time making the transition from funny, kind of campy, into like the serious moments. And so there's moments in here that are supposed to be serious moments, but you can't connect with it as an audience member. Like it doesn't translate, right? And it's just like this really bumpy transition from, oh, we were just like doing something fun and silly a minute ago, and then we're going over here to this serious thing, but the serious thing doesn't, like, there's not a lot of gravity to it. Like there's one particular moment in this movie that He-Man himself is responsible for that turns out to be something that should be kind of a serious moment. And it really, it doesn't come off that way, and it should be, but then it's sort of forgotten after that. It's never dealt with again. Like this is something that should conceivably like really shape and haunt this character of He-Man, of this thing that he did. And you could even use this like as the moral tale of the movie, but it's just written off like it didn't happen.
Do you think the movie's taking itself too seriously, or do you think it's
this is the problem? This is the problem is that it's trying to do both, and since it's trying to do both, it can't really decide what it really wants to be, right? This is a sort of like a hero's journey type of a narrative, right? But it's all very sort of surface level, and that's fine. If you want to do, kind of just like a fun, campy movie or whatever, but then they throw the serious in it, and you're like, oh, okay. So like we're changing gears here now into something a little bit different. Again, overall, there's a ton of action in this movie. The pacing is decent, right? So you're not going to sit there and feel like you have like you don't get bored. You're not sitting there getting bored going, when is this thing going to end? It's 2 hour and 20-minute movie. When is this going to, I mean, come on, let's go. It just has a really hard time deciding what it wants to be. In so look, there was some good stuff. There was a lot of great action. The CGI was a little bit of a mixed bag. Some of it looked really good. Some of it was really good. And then there were other moments that were sort of B tier, C tier CGI. It's almost cartoon or like video game level. And so that was kind of a little, I don't say off-putting, but a little bit, I'm just looking for some consistency, right? And that's probably a little bit of a nitpicking thing. The one I would say maybe biggest gripe that I have about this movie is that there's a little bit of dialogue in here, and there's a little bit of joke in here that is well into the adult level, and I would be upset if I had a young kid that maybe was asking me some weird questions on the car ride home. But other than that, look, I mean, it's a movie. It was pretty fun. I'd probably give it 3.5 stars out of 5. It was lots of action, sort of nonstop, and that's pretty good. As far as substance goes, I didn't find a lot of substance there. There were a lot of things that should have had more emotional weight to them that really didn't. But at the end of the day, it's a He-Man movie. We want to see Men at Arms. We want to see He-Man. I just think that it could have been better. Even with this movie is very much sort of in a tone of like Guardians of the Galaxy, right? But where Guardians of the Galaxy executes it very well and does camp and does humor and does serious and that all flows very nicely. This movie's a little bit disjointed in that regard. Still fun enough to watch, but that's about it.
Sergeant Grumpy Vance, what was your thoughts on the movie?
I liked it. I liked it. I mean, literally, I was one of those things that I grew up with He-Man, right? And I was like, okay, cool. Let's see if they can right some of the wrongs from the 1987 Dolph Lundgren movie, right? That movie was fucking atrocious. To this day, I look at it and go, wow, Dolph Lundgren, great as Draco, the bad guy from Rocky IV, the Russian. Fantastic. Not so much as He-Man. His I have the power. Nope. Lackluster, limp. I didn't like it. And Skeletor was garbage in that original movie. I liked the visual effects. I liked the story well enough to kind of like bring something old into the new. It was pretty great for that aspect. It was fun, right? It's just trying to be a kid at heart and watch it through the lens of what it is to be a kid entertained, just simply off entertainment value. I liked it and enjoyed it immensely for the fact that I kind of got to see He-Man corrected based off of that 1987 flick with Dolph Lundgren. That one was pretty awful. This one, I think they righted some wrongs. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. I would have liked to seen a little bit more Cringer, right? His trusty sidekick, Tiger.
Yep.
I would have liked to have seen him. The one thing I think they really missed on is they didn't include him turning into Battle Cat. Okay, they didn't do that.
They did
just
not?
Out of nowhere. They did not. He did not.
Interesting.
You did not see him point his sword like the cartoon. He goes bam, and all of a sudden he gets like super jacked and swole. He gets the freaking Iron Cross on his or whatever that thing is that he gets on there. I'm not saying he's a part of like the third or anything, right? And then and all of a sudden he takes that sword and then bam, he points it at Cringer, who's like, oh no, and he morphs into this huge, just battle cat with armor, and he gets this courage, and he's very Even then, that kind of very simplistic animation from 1983, they missed that. So I agree with Redbeard Riot that there were opportunities missed that they could have capitalized on, things that they didn't do that. I don't know why, but there was a lot of comedy in there involved with the fact that they didn't take themselves too seriously a lot of the time, which was great because, I mean, no one's going to be like, oh, cool, let's go ahead and nominate this film for Best Picture for Academy Awards. That's not what this is. This is not an artsy fartsy film. It is literally meant for strictly entertainment value for kids and family. And I said, you know what? Let's just see. And I went with the mindset of like, I know this isn't a Disney pick, right? Like they didn't have their hands in this at all.
No, I think it's an Amazon flick, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. Actually, thank you for reminding me. In the very beginning, it was like an Amazon original or something like that.
Yeah.
So the fact that I was like, okay, well, let's see how much wokeness they go ahead and put into this business. It was funny because it poked fun at itself, because what do we remember the title cartoon as in 1983? It was He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. 1987 came out with a movie, Masters of the Universe. They even cut He-Man out of it back then. This one,
sure.
They didn't even have He-Man in the title here. It was just Masters of the Universe again, right? There is a great part where they poke fun at the whole, what are your pronouns type of thing. Okay. And on his desk is a placard with his name, and underneath it has pronouns, which I thought was pretty funny. It didn't say he-man. It said he, him, which was pretty funny because he works in HR, apparently.
Okay.
So I guess that's a thing that they have to do. Without giving too much spoilers, it was just one of those things I noticed visually. I thought it was pretty funny to poke at itself. But even poking fun at itself is in the way of the cartoon. There were times when you could kind of faintly hear Skeletor's throwback laugh. That kind of...
Until we meet again!
Until we meet again, a pregnant woman swimming in water is just a human submarine until we meet again, or whatever it is he does. His little tidbits of information and scampers off. There were nods to it that were nostalgic, which was pretty fun, but obviously it was made for modern day, right? And the fact that I took both my youngest daughter and my oldest daughter to see it, and they both, oh my God, we loved it. It was so much fun. I was like, it was actually kind of fun. If you're looking for fun, family value, friendly stuff like that, go in with the mindset of this is just meant to be fun. It's not meant to, make you think too deeply. It's based off of a cartoon, right?
Sure. And a silly cartoon.
A very silly cartoon.
I agree with you that there were some hardcore member berries here. Like they leaned heavily into that. And don't get me wrong, love to see it. Right? I thought it was cool. I definitely thought it was cool. And they definitely let off the woke gas pedal.
They really did.
It's still in there, but it is not as in your face. Which fine. I mean, it's there, but it's not cramming anything down your throat per se.
Right. Exactly. And to that point, there's obviously you can watch the trailer. Man at Arms is played by, I think his name is Idris Elba. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I don't even care about that. I thought he did a great job.
He did a fantastic job, right? It was no different when they recasted Kingpin in that really crappy Ben Affleck and Jennifer Gardner movie called Daredevil back in the early 2000s. And they took the comic book character Kingpin, who is typically drawn as a white guy. They put Michael Clark Duncan, a big, burly dude. And he was black. Right. But he was a black guy portraying a comic book character who was totally white. But he did such a fantastic job. He just brought that energy to the screen. I thought he did. I knocked it out of the park. And those are one of the rare circumstances where you're like, Kingpin's not black, but let's see how this plays out. And that's kind of what happened with Man at Arms. I think Idris Elba, God, I'm really butchering his name, I think. But Idris Elba, I'm not exactly sure. He nailed it. Man at Arms, he did a great job. But part of that wokeism, like, Redbeard Riot mentioned, Tila is his daughter. Tila's white. And
I don't even care. I don't even care about that. But why is Tila? Tila is a little bit. Isn't she a little bit OP? Isn't she a little bit overpowered? She is fully competent, and there's nothing wrong with that. But she's about the only one, right? He-Man is Prince Adam. If we look at the cartoon, which I hate to compare it to that because obviously the cartoon is going to be very one-dimensional. But
Yeah, but that's where it's coming from.
He-Man as a character is very much like in the vein of like Captain America. Okay, this is a character that is
Honorable,
extensively competent and honorable, and all these kinds of things. His alter ego, his Clark Kent, if you will, is Prince Adam, who is sort of like a useless boob, right? Well, in a lot of ways, in this movie, He-Man never really shows up. It's sort of like the Prince Adam just like amped up, and now he's stronger, but he doesn't really become like the great general, the captain of the guard. Like that's one thing that the first He-Man movie gets right about He-Man with Dolph Lundgren, is that he is very much like a Conan the Barbarian type of figure. He is strong and powerful and confident and all these things. Now, I get that this is a little bit of an origin story, but I think they played him down. I think they played him down a little bit.
Prince Adam?
Yes.
Prince Adam.
He never really becomes like that strong, confident character of He-Man. He's really just Prince Adam on PEDs, right?
Yeah.
He is. Yeah. Prince Adam in this one, I agree with you, was just kind of. No, what did the kids say?
I think they did that. I think they maybe made that choice a little bit in the casting, because he is a little bit. It's like he's a little bit like he's like soy He-Man, right? He's not.
Yeah, in this day and age.
He's not jacked out. You know what I mean? Like they tried to capture a little bit of his character in that, like, He-Man isn't really like he's not Conan the Barbarian. He's not the Destroyer. He's not like the ultra violent, kind of murder everybody type of character, which kind of bothered me a little bit when there was some kind of just casual murder on He-Man's part. I thought that was a little bit. Didn't need that, because that's not who that character is, right?
Well, now you were talking about like they captured kind of the essence of the cartoon. Like when I was watching, and I haven't seen this movie yet, so I'll have to check it out. But when I was watching the trailers, it looked like it was quite a CGI heavy movie, and that like probably the majority of the set pieces in this movie were done with some form of CGI or computer rendering. Did the movie feel that way? Did it feel kind of like an Avengers Endgame?
I think they did a good job of transitioning back and forth, because there were a lot of like physical set pieces that was like they are very clearly in a building, you know what I mean? It's very similar to the idea of like the rebooted Star Trek, right? Where they didn't make the inside of the starship, they didn't make the inside of the Starship Enterprise into some sort of like carpeted love fest, all CGI everywhere. No, it was like an industrial kind of like gritty feel to it and everything else. And so they did do a pretty good job of that, I think, where they could.
Any chance Redbeard can plug a Star Trek reference in there, he's going to take full advantage of that.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Fucking nerd.
Where's my hat? Are we getting a hat?
All right. So what's the final verdict, Sergeant Grumpy Pants? Is this something that you would recommend to a longtime fan of the He-Man series? Is this something that you would recommend to somebody who's new, maybe their first time kind of dipping their toes in the He-Man universe? Is that something you think is worth a watch?
I would definitely say yes, because both my daughters have no clue who this character is, what they were about, where they come from, that they even existed, until they watched the trailer and they said, wow, we're kind of excited to see this. And it literally hit with them, I think, some sort of childlike nerve what it did for us when we first saw the cartoon, right? We're like, oh my gosh, it's so colorful and amazing and all these weird characters. This is just awesome. I want to really throw myself, headfirst into the shallow end of this and just let the chips fall where they may and just really kind of absorb all the information that I can. I took both of them there and they both loved it. My oldest, who, like I said, she's 18, and she was like, I really liked it. I want to actually see it again. And I was like, okay. Wow. And they know nothing about this. Now, I will put this in here as the caveat. I do believe she thinks the actor who played Prince Adam / He-Man.
So cute.
I think so. Never vocalized it as far as I know, but I'm pretty sure we're swinging on the whole. I got to fan myself. I'm getting the vapors.
He sure is a man.
Oh my!
He's a man's man. He can wear pink, and he's all sorts of happy with it. Oh, look at his hair. Yes, I would. And then even for someone like me who is nostalgic about it, I went in with the lens of like, listen, I'm not going to tear this movie apart. Let me just go and watch it for the simple entertainment value factor of it. And I was entertained. I was not blown away. Like I said, this isn't going to win any Academy Awards, but it poked fun at itself as in the way of how the campiness was. I love that. I love the fact that it poked fun at itself. Don't take yourself too seriously because no one's getting out of this thing called Life Alive, which is great. And that's kind of where I let the chips fall where they may on that one. But yes, that is my decision. If you're a 40-something-year-old person and you remember this cartoon actively, or you're a kid, a Gen Alpha or a Gen Z, you're probably going to enjoy this movie just because it's silly. It's mindless dribble entertainment, which is kind of the lens that I looked at it through.
Yeah, I think with these kind of movies, you said it perfectly. You just got to go in there and take it for what it is. Any movie with a lead character in it by the name of He-Man, you should not be taking too seriously. So I'll have to get out there and watch this movie myself. Gentlemen, are we ready to move on to the next topic?
I think so.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. All right. Well, next on the list, let's just keep the 80s train going. And so this one, we're going to let Sergeant Grumpy Pants take the lead on. And this is Forgotten Toys of the 80s.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to pull this up right here. All right. So for those of you who are listening, this is a segment we're calling Forgotten Toys of the 80s. And
this is by far makes me so happy. Nostalgia at its best.
All right.
First thing you're looking at here.
Stage is yours.
All right. So the first one we're looking at is a cartoon called Black Star. You might be
the first one had to be racist.
Is this? I mean, it didn't intentionally come on. We're going back to 1981 where racism didn't exist.
Oh no, it sure didn't.
Entertainment. In children's entertainment, as far as I can tell you, as far as I know, from what I can. But then again, I'm looking at through my lens and my perspective, and I guess I have a privilege here. So, but one way or another, this is John. This is John Blackstar. This is a cartoon that came up. You can go ahead and click. This is going to bring up some information here. This looks like a knockoff version of He-Man. They're like, what? Let's do the same exact thing and throw some dark hair on him. We'll call him John Blackstar.
We gotta sell some toys. We gotta sell the toys.
1981 by Filmation. Boy, that company should sound very familiar. By the way,
He-Man.
Yep. Being fantasy season, it only had one season but 13 episodes, and the toys were made by a company called Galoob, and I don't even know if they're in production anymore. If they're
so, what you're saying is that it was good.
It was. Okay, so here's a bit of information for you. When we're talking about the predecessors, yes. Black Star was ultimately dethroned by He-Man in 1983 in September when it first aired. But a little bit of animation history for you. Black Star paved the way. It was the, what's the word I'm looking for? It was the prototype. They were like, wonder if we can do something with this because this guy is he's jacked, he's muscly, he's got a power sword, he's got the loincloth, he's got the big fur boots, right? Like he's going out to get Uggs.
And he's got eyebrows that look like fucking caterpillars crawling.
Oh, Jesus, this guy.
They could have cast what's his name, Levy, something Levy, guy with the big bushy caterpillar eyebrows. They could have cast him in the 80s. Eugene Levy.
Yes.
Eugene Levy. Yeah, they could have cast that guy to play.
Yeah, I'm
John
sure he looks
Lennon.
great in a loincloth.
Right. No, it probably not in this day and age anymore. But no, I mean, this was literally the predecessor. This is what paved the way for He-Man, and that's why it was so short-lived. But they were like, you know what? This was kind of what we were toying with. Let's see what goes on. Go ahead and hit the next slide if you could. There's a picture of me opening up a Black Star toy. That was me. Like, don't mind my pack of cigarettes on the table behind me. I was trying to cut back then. But this is literally like 1983,
It's like the most 80s picture I've ever seen.
Look, I used to get generic toys as well. I feel your pain.
I loved these toys though. They were so great, and they had these like little demons. It was like a backard card with a pop out, and then you had your action figure right inside there. No matter what it was, it could be a good guy, a bad guy, but they always came with like a little accessory. And sometimes the accessories were more fun because you could do anything you wanted to without having to be a good guy, a bad guy. The accessories could be like, you know, just a henchman, or you could make them like a fun sidekick. That was my imagination back in the toy. But Black Star, that was a really big one for me. And I have the commercials. I was so happy to find these because when you're looking at toys that were made back in the 80s, late 70s and early 80s, they didn't care about safety standards at all. No. When it came to anything, whether it was paint or choking hazards. I mean, they kind of were like, okay, maybe we need to tone this down a little bit, but at the same time, just watch the commercial and just
let's dive about the nudity.
Laser light, it's Black Star.
Oh, we didn't give a seizure warning. What? Oh.
The evil overlord.
Yeah.
So they're like, for those of you who are just listening, there's apparently something on the back of these action figures that you strike that causes a flash inside the chest of these action
I think it's
figures.
literally a lighter.
Yeah.
I think you're clicking.
Now,
I think you're clicking
don't click anything.
Pick.
Don't click anything because it'll go to the next slide. But don't click anything. At the end of every commercial, just kind of let it hang until I.
Son, I can't find my damn lighter. Bring me your Black Star action figure.
Thank you. As I watched that, I was like, oh my God, I do remember that. It's literally the Flint Striker on Bic lighters that causes the little spark in their chest. And I'm like, dude, that was literally an insurance fire hazard problem waiting to happen. Those were the toys. I mean, they're so great that the fact that it was just a throwback. But I mean,
now you know why this was discontinued.
Yeah, well, you know, and there's a great many other reasons why, but these are the toys that I'm pretty sure nobody really kind of remembers. But then we go into another segment. Do these guys look familiar to you?
I know what this is. I know what this is.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. They look like they look like Transformers, but really lame.
Really lame.
But really lame.
They
right?
were the mighty robots.
Mighty Robots, a challenge of the GoBots. This was a 1983 produced by Hanna-Barbera. This was a science fiction action series. There were 2 seasons of 65 episodes, and the toys were made by Tonka. Do we remember who Tonka is? Go ahead and give it a click.
They made the trucks.
Well, this is the straight up ripoff of Transformers.
There it is. Yep, Tonka trucks. You remember those things were metal and heavy duty plastic? Look at the rust.
you could murder someone with that.
Yep, that's a
tetanus shot waiting to happen.
Yeah, oh yeah. That's a lethal weapon right there.
I remember being small enough on a dump truck like that. I remember being able to put both my knees in the bed of the truck and roll down a hill and using that as kind of like a makeshift skateboard in those things. And they were that durable. They could support my weight. And I would just go balls deep as fast as I could, just fast down a big steep driveway. No care for traffic whatsoever.
I don't think that's the right metaphor.
Probably not, but that's what came out.
Okay.
But
I was like, the back end of that truck looks good, but I don't know, buddy.
I mean, I did go knees first, so you know, other anatomy followed. But I love those things. And here's the commercial. Oh.
They appear to be mighty robots, but you change them into mighty vehicles. GoBots.
I had like 8 of those little red cars. They were all over the place.
They were horrible.
And they broke so easily.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's some middle-aged man showing off robots telling you why you need it.
Yeah, right.
Come.
All right, so just let it hang there on this image, right? So you're looking at these robots.
This is
and these things
leader
are
one. Yes.
bad. These things are bad, right? This is the reason they may have beat Transformers to the show, to the syndication of the cartoons. They may have beat Transformers to the toy shelves, but they were quickly dethroned heavily because Transformers, if you remember those toys, they were way more complex to transform, and they were just so much more
absolutely.
in depth and detailed. They were
Sure.
crazy good. These GoBots were literally. I liken it to like you go down to Mexico and you get all the knockoff stuff.
Yeah.
Right. It's not real because that's how they get around copyright infringement. Like you don't get Iron Man from the Avengers. You get like Metallo Man.
You get Metal Man.
He kind of looks like Iron Man, but with like Down syndrome, like a little on the, is not as sharp. Right. But yeah, they were quickly dethroned by the Transformers is why they were so short lived. But yeah, another favorite toy of mine that not a lot of people remember. I'm glad that you guys do. That's amazing. So go ahead. Next slide. Who remembers this? Is the image of this giant robot?
Is this Transor Z?
Yeah, or Gundam. This is Vehicle Voltron.
I don't remember Vehicle Voltron. I remember Voltron.
Sure.
But I don't remember
Vehicle
Vehicle
Voltron.
Voltron.
Vehicle
Was this
Voltron.
a spin-off of the Voltron
series? This is next level ripoff.
This is literally by the same production company, and it's season 2 right after the Lion Robots. Yeah, it's Vehicle Voltron 1984 World Events Productions, a science fiction action series. And then it's one season, but 52 episodes. And toys were originally made by Matchbox, then later LJN Limited, which is, you'll see
what happened
names appear.
This is a ripoff of Devastator. This is a ripoff of Transformers. Transformers came out with Devastator, which was basically a ripoff of Voltron, and then they must have been like, "Oh, we need to do a Vehicle Voltron." That's painful.
Something to keep up with the competition, man. 80s were really, really competitive with what they had coming out as in the way of cartoons and the merchandise that followed. And this is something that a lot of people don't recollect in their childhood memories. But yeah, this is a Voltron
52 episodes of this.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, one whole season, and it was the second season, backed right behind the Lion Robots. If you remember the Lion, that's the most popular one, right?
Of course, that is Voltron.
Here's the commercial for the toys.
Yeah, I thought I was trying to pause. My apologies. Here we go.
No, you're good. You're good.
From days of long ago comes a legend. The legend of Voltron, defender of the universe.
Another one by Matchbox.
Matchbox.
Oh, sure. Was that the Black Ranger?
Probably.
Now you can form Voltron.
It's like Voltron's retarded little brother.
I
Right,
guarantee
it really
you,
was.
those things did not snap together as easily as those commercials ever made them seem. Every time it's like, oh yeah, just click, 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 click. And then you get you actually go out and you buy these things, and it's like an exercise in patience. Excuse me, trying to get these things to
you're trying to solve a Rubik's Cube to get these things to slide together.
Yeah, it looks
100%.
Looks crazy.
But we got one more slide behind this one that's still based on Voltron. Go ahead and give it a click real quick if you don't mind. Click it again. There's the original. Everybody remembers this guy, right?
Sure,
The
this
lions,
is
the 5 mighty lions. This is the iconic vision of Voltron. Click it again. And this guy, the original Vehicle Voltron that formed the mighty robot. So give it one more click, and I leave it to the audience. Lions versus vehicles, you decide. But basically, it was made by the same production company. It was just a second season based after the Lions, and they were originally Japanese. Little information about it is the first season was based on Beast King Go Lion, and the second season was based off of the Armored Fleet Die Ruger 15. And
looks like we got a couple of some chats down there. What are people saying about this?
Why does Black Star look like Bruce Lee? I don't know. Maybe he was very popular at the time. Oh wait, no, he passed away in 1973. My bad.
No, and that would have been Blackstar.
Brackstar.
Lions versus vehicles. I don't know. I mean, it was obviously another attempt at a cash grab here. They
Right.
were looking to sell additional
Well, I
merchandise.
mean, this is what all of these shows are, right? He-Man was not made to be a cartoon. He-Man was a toy that they made into a cartoon.
Was like, yeah, it was just a season full of commercials.
It was commercials. They were commercials.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we
a lot
ate
of
that
these were
stuff up.
based-
I had all of that crap.
Yep. I had the Voltron with the lions and all of them, and put them together in a carry. And they were big too. Like I remember when you had all of those things put together, that thing would stand probably a good 12 inches. Like it was
Right. You could do curls with those. They were heavy.
It was a massive toy.
And Redbeard, I'm really surprised that you had all those because you said your family was poor. So I just didn't.
Well,
know why.
I didn't say how my family got it, just that we had it.
I mean, we got it. How the Grinch stole Christmas.
It was a process.
Right. So this next one, Mask. I loved this one. This was another good one. This one came out, I want to say 1985. Yeah, 1985. And who remembers at the very end, at the end of the show, Deke, the little kid with his voice. Deke. Yeah, we all know what it looks like, kid.
Yeah.
We can pronounce it. Science fiction action series, 2 seasons, 75 episodes, and toys were made by Kenner. And as you all know, Kenner was the one to grab at the Star Wars lineup from 1977 for Lucas's toys as well. So they made bank. And I had to throw this in there, but they battled the organization Venom. They didn't even try to hide it. Their name literally stands for Vicious Evil Network of Mayhem. Like they're just boldly putting it out there. They didn't even care. But I loved this cartoon. This one was a great one, and their
toys were really cool too.
Yeah, they really were because they were these vehicles that would morph into something different. Yep. Even though they were still vehicles, they would just have these cool little gadgets. Like this guy looks like he's driving like a 1987 IROC, and then the wings I will say come up like a Lamborghini.
The laziest like attempt to like transform.
It was a lazy transform.
Yeah. What if it just had suicide doors and we said this thing could fly?
It's like, we'll just put up the doors and those will be the wings. I'm like, what?
Hooray! Like, there's not enough lift and drag there to cause them to fly, but all right. But I love it because Mask is Mobile Armored Strike Command, and they spelled the command with a K.
But of course they did.
Pretty cool.
First time somebody did that. So, yep. Suck it, Mortal Kombat. Somebody else used the K before you did.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, look,
this was also
the intro to this show is, I mean, it's peak 80s, like iconic 80s rock.
Yep.
When you hear it, you're like, I know what that is.
Oh yeah, it's so great. And these toys were fantastic. The Rhino, which is the big diesel truck that you see above the lettering Mask, that was like the signature picture that you always saw, and they used it in all their advertising, right? That was the one that was a part of the logo visually. And these toys, they were toys first, and then they built the show around the toy line.
All of these were. That was all of them. All of these are.
Right.
What was it about diesel trucks in the 80s? Like Optimus
Over the
Prime
top
was
with
a diesel
Stallone.
truck, and yeah, it's like everything in the 80s, like you had to have a diesel truck in it. Like I don't remember as a kid.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, Big Trouble in Little China.
Right.
That's another great example of like I just don't remember as a kid being super excited about diesel trucks.
Better be a Peterbilt. I love this show. This was a great one, though.
Riot, did you have something you wanted to?
No. I mean, I was just talking about, what you were kind of getting into was what's the deal with diesel trucks? You like a diesel truck as a kid if you can like make them honk their horn as they go by or something like that. Like when you're on a road trip and you broke down because your family's poor and you're out on the side of the road and here go the trucks and you need something to do. I know we've all done that.
A family of limited means, we'll say that. But yeah, this one was animated in Japan.
Where illusion is the ultimate weapon.
Convert Switchblade to jet mode. Surprise, Mac Tracker. It's mayhem. Battle station. Protect the decoder, Bruce. I'm going up. Stacks ready to fire.
Mask, Switchblade, Thunderhawk, and Rhino.
Fire!
each sold separately with action figure.
Cover me, Matt. 10-4. Sato's getting away. But you're not, Mayhem.
Mask, Switchblade, Thunderhawk, and Rhino, each sold separately, new from Kenner.
I just like to point out that last shot there, Switchblade was a helicopter that turned into a jet. It was still a flying machine. It didn't turn into a boat. Something different for other form of
faster.
So they invented they invented the first Osprey. Is that what happened?
Right, exactly. That basically is all it did. But I loved that one as a kid. It was so fantastic. But there's a lot of things that are really obscure on here. So I don't know if anybody in the chat has any recollection of these things. What does that say by Scott the Robot there in the chat right underneath? I fell off the back of a truck.
Oh, that's how I got my He-Man collection. You know, when the boxes fall off the back of a truck. Yeah.
It's from those reputable sources.
They fell off the back of a truck.
Right. Go ahead and click over to the next one. This one is another favorite of mine.
Oh,
it's
my
very
God.
obscure. Do you know these?
Yeah. Oh, I had these all over the place. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. Like, you saw this now. Did it just pull up a dusty bubble of thought and memory that just came up as soon as you saw this?
Because there were so many of them, and so like finding everything was like it was like the Pokemon of our time, right? Like if you wanted to go out, like, you really had to search to like collect. Because I remember I'm looking at like the one in the background on the far left, the big giant square one. I remember having that one. Like,
yep.
Some of these things were really hard to find.
I couldn't tell you any of their names.
Yeah. I loved these things.
Muscle stood for millions of unusual small creatures lurking everywhere. Created in 1985, and the toys were made by Mattel, the same company who made He-Man toys. And they were originally released in Japan, and the figures were known as Kinkeshi or Kiniku erasers. Now, they were a line of collectible eraser-like figures based on characters from the Kinnikuman, a popular wrestling superhero anime or manga that began in 1979. So they took some time getting over to America, but when they did, they were like, hey, we're going to go ahead and just capitalize on this and make giant eraser figures out of these little guys.
Didn't they attempt a show about this?
I don't know. Nothing I could find in my research took me down the path where I saw a cartoon show based off of this in the United States. I just remember this being a toy. And it took me a while to do all this research. I was like, good Lord, what were these things? And Google searching was very vague. I'm like, small, pink, muscly men. And it just came up.
Whoa.
Literally, it's in the name.
I don't want to know what your search results brought back on that.
What you Google.
Yeah. Muscles.
I had to make sure that it was filtered, so to speak. But go ahead and click the next one over. And if you remember, they were sold in these very, very clear, opaque.
That is one way they were sold. That was
cans.
not the only packaging they came in. They did come in some of those square packaging. I forget what you call it, but with the
like backer boards with the
pops.
yeah,
the clamshell type stuff and everything. They definitely came in that. I've seen them. I've even seen these things in 25-cent machines where they would come in a little, where you put in, quarter or dollar or whatever.
And the little opaque bubble comes out.
Yep. So somebody got the idea, they go and buy these things on bulk, probably for $5 a canister at the time. Right. And then they turn around and sell each one of these for $1 a piece in one of those machines. It was a great way to make money.
And they were great because they sold them. Excuse me, I have a piece of ice I'm choking on.
Nice work. Sorry. Nicely done. Nicely done. This is fine broadcasting.
Went down the wrong tube. Sorry. So they sold them in different trash can sizes or different pack sizes, so to speak. The commercial is just as weird, though. And I remember this commercial. Go ahead and play that clip real quick, if you don't mind.
Invasion of the muscle things. They've come to drive America nuts. They're ugly. They're weird. They're tiny. They're terrible.
Bunch of muscle men marching in Washington and some of the old, like, 1950s movie clips.
Right.
Muscle things. Hundreds of different, I don't know what. They run in packs of
That was it. I don't know what. And they didn't have to give an explanation.
How many can you capture?
That was the great thing about being a kid
capture?
in the 80s is you didn't need. You remember? I don't want to get too ahead because I don't know if it's on here. But you guys remember Garbage Pail Kids?
Oh yeah.
Yes, I do.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So is Garbage Pail Kids in this? Because I don't want to get ahead of you here, Sergeant.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It is not. That's the one I left out.
That was one of the things. It was like when you were a kid in the 80s, you didn't need a big, massive backstory. You didn't need to have every character explained in detail. You didn't need to have all of this lore. It just needed to be gross or
gotta catch them all
looking, and that was it. That was all the explanation we needed as kids for toys. Gross,
especially as little boys. Little boys, yeah.
Does it have slime? Does it have a kid picking his nose and eating it? Awesome. We love it.
Does it have a spring in it?
Yep.
For battle action.
Love it. Those are the best. Go ahead and click over to the next one. This is another favorite of mine from my childhood, my youth, as it were, is Silverhawks. This is made in 1986 by Rankin and Bass Productions. They were the same company that made like the old, really crappy claymation, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I think they even animated Frosty the Snowman back in the day that was voiced by Burl Ives or someone. No, maybe not Burl Ives. Jimmy Durante, I think, narrated it. But they were the same production that made these cartoons. And if you look at the animation style real quick, I want you both to look at just this animation style. What do you think this resembles, as in the way of animation style? Another cartoon that was made around this time.
This, if I understand correctly, is potentially maybe even the same universe as Thundercats.
That's exactly
ding,
what
ding,
I was
ding, ding,
say.
ding. Right. Nailed it, brother. That's exactly right. Yep.
It's
Thundercats was 1980. Yeah, Thundercats was 1985. Silverhawks was 1986, and made by Rankin Bass.
There was a third show that was also supposed to be in this same type of universe. It was like air, land, sea type of thing. I don't know that they ever actually physically connected them, but yeah. This one was relatively popular. Thundercats was relatively popular. The other one was sort of trash.
Yeah, this had one season, 65 episodes, and the toys were made by Kenner. Again, another popular name in toy manufacturing. These were just these, I guess, biometric enhanced individuals that were living in space, and they would put their hands down by their sides and then spread their arms out, and then all of a sudden these wings would form from like their hips to their wrists, and that's how they would glide through space, and they would take their hands and cover their face straight down, and then they would get this kind of cool looking hawk mask so they could breathe in outer space as well. This one was a fun favorite of mine. The toys I thought were amazing. I had them all. This one was a great one. Go ahead and play the clip if you don't mind, sir.
Can we talk for a minute about how seasons back then had a crazy number of episodes? Like we went from having a minimum of like 25 episodes for a season, up to 65 episodes for one season. Now, anything that comes out these days, it's like 5 to 8 episodes for a season.
Listen, go back and watch any of these shows. You'll see it very prominently in like He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, for example. There's a ton of like canned footage where it's the same shot, and they will use many of the exact same shot. It's like 100%. He-Man punching the camera, push, right? And they use that all the time. And I suspect with any of these shows where there's 65 episodes, there's probably a lot of that going on.
Yep.
It's a lot of regurgitated animation scenes.
Silverhawks, partly metal, partly real, mighty warriors with the powers to protect space from all
the
evil.
half-naked guy.
Mumbo Jumbo and Sky Shadow attack the
half-naked actual grown man flying across.
The Mirage figures and Sky Shadow sold separately. The Mirage fires its missiles and its hot seat. Miss. Copper Kid and Steel will release.
The other thing that I loved about these commercials is just the set pieces they would put together for these toys.
Right?
Like the set pieces for these commercials were always like top notch. And then you like go out in the backyard and you try to rebuild or recreate something that looked even remotely like that with used soda cans and cardboard boxes and whatever garbage you could find laying around to build a set like that. But I always thought that it was so cool because they would always have these awesome sets built for these toys, and it was just like, My dad put it together. He's got a lot of
Sure.
money.
Yeah.
Then we get beat
Well,
for
look,
making a mess of the house.
I mean, the
Right.
the real money for any of these things was in the vehicles,
Yep.
and then the bigger items, right? So it's He-Man, it's Castle Grayskull, it's Snake
good
Mountain,
one.
and these were like big ticket items. You could get one of the figures for a couple of $4 or $5 or something. Like, it wasn't all that expensive. But if you wanted the play set or the Castle Grayskull or whatever, you were forking over some cash.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
well, your parents
Oh, my
were, and that's why
God.
they were always mad.
No,
Uh-oh.
off the back of the truck.
I remember
Uh-oh.
these.
Do you?
This
I'm
is
so
no.
glad.
This is totally bad. I don't know what this is.
I love these because you had made mention maybe this last week about, we had army men with like the little gray and green ones that came in the posable figures with the little foot stands. You could stand them up and all
Well,
that.
they even put that in Toy Story. Remember the army?
They
men in Toy
absolutely did. Well, this was Army Ants, and you had teams of blue versus the red ants. And I love the fact that the blue team was led by General McAnther, and then the red team was led by General Pat Ant.
Oh,
It's so good.
So great.
I
It's
know
just
why
a
I don't
toy.
recognize these. I see the date there, 1987. I probably,
Yes.
had hair on my chest and was going to work by this time, so I don't remember these.
I
Well,
loved these.
I did too. I'm so glad that someone else recollects these things because literally it was sold in squadrons. I want to say oh my gosh, how did they come? They were in packs of 3, 8, or 8 in the blister packs, so to speak.
That looks like a pack of 6. If I'm
No,
counting
I mean
correctly.
it's cropped. I had to make it fit so I
gotcha,
can.
gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, so part of the backer board is kind of cut off, but there would be a pack of 3 or 8. I think they came in those types of squadrons. But it's so great. But this is just a toy that was made by Hasbro. No cartoon, nothing. This stood on its own as just a toy. And I remember the commercial so vividly that I was just like, wow, that's so great. They put a lot of time and effort in this commercial as far as toy commercials go, and no kids being involved. They're like, oh, I'm going to get you, blah, blah. Nothing like that. Go ahead and play that beautiful bean footage if you don't mind.
Up and hills, down and dales, as we hit the dusty
Oh,
trail.
no.
We go marching along. We are bad, we are boss, we've got
This
guns
looks
and
like-
wishing squads, army and we go marching
This is like miniature Terminator.
Then it's high, he for the anti-artillery. Shout out your orders loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know army and
Stop.
we
Turn
go
it off.
marching
Stop it.
along. Sold in squadrons of 3 and 8. From
There you
Hasbro.
go.
There you go. Squadrons of 3 and 8. Very, very high pitched, but I was so enthralled by that cartoon. I was like, I've got to get these things. They're so amazing. Moving on. Another war-esque type of toy. Battle Beasts. 1987. Toys made
Negative.
by Hasbro.
No,
Same
sir.
people that made the Army Ants. And originally
Nope.
released in Japan in 1986 under the name Beast Formers. Now,
I do
when looking
remember
at
these.
this,
I remember the thing on the chest. You'd put your thumb over it,
nailed it.
and then
Oh,
Nailed it.
did those
Yep.
like change color? It was kind of like it was a mood ring on their
Yeah.
chest, and it would like.
yeah.
Yes,
No, I don't
sir.
remember.
You would he it was the thing. You push it on their chest. That thing? Yeah. No, I don't remember that at all.
No.
You'd push on the little black square on their chest, and it would literally, like, your heat would activate it from your thumb or your finger, whatever you use to warm it up, would be like a flame or a log or water. And it was kind of like the action figure version of rock, paper, scissor, right? And this is how it went. And these, I mean, they were only 2 inches big. Every animal had a weapon in one hand, and some on their left hands had something replaced with like a weapon, right?
Didn't
and
the
they were just
Transformers
animals.
have something similar to the to
If they-
that? They had like a little
if-
sticker on
yeah.
their chest that like you could touch it or rub it or something, and it would reveal if it was an Autobot or if it was a Decepticon. Am I misremembering this?
No, you're remembering that 100% accurately. That's
Okay.
that is a toy lineup. I don't remember exactly what those were called, but yes,
No,
that is something
Transformers.
that
I'm talking about
actually-
Transformers.
Right, but there was it was a line that had that chest reveal. Not all of
Oh,
them.
like
had
a
that.
certain. I got you. Okay.
Right, certain of them, because they even released with Transformers later on, like the dinosaur Transformers. Remember, They came out with
the
we got
Dinobots. Come on.
Dinobots. That's right, Dinobots.
Yeah.
But these guys, Battle Beast,
Grimlock. Right.
right. Oh, the fact that you remember the name, that's awesome. But Battle Beast was one that I really liked, and they came in, a backer board and blister pack of 2, but there were 84. 84 of these little bastards. 84 of these little bastards, and it was a different series. So as you can see in the picture on the backer board, it says Series 1. And I'm like, wow, how many different series did they have? Because I only remember having maybe 20 or 30 of these things.
You got to catch them all.
I wasn't even halfway there because there was 80 some odd. I was like, wow, that's a lot. And I'm really getting, my parents are annoyed with me having to spend money every time we go to the impulse aisle right by the registers to grab these damn things at Target or Kmart or wherever it was. But yeah, I loved these. These things were great. And I'm glad that you recollect these because this is a very distant memory. And it was only 87, right? 1987. But as we were growing up, we started putting childish things behind us, but they were still things that were kind of on the cusp of being a kid and wanting to kind of grow up. You know what I mean? Go ahead and play the commercial if you don't mind.
Battle Beast wood! Fire! Fire burns wood! Battle Beast fire! Water! Water puts out fire! Battle Beast water! Wood beats water! Battle Beast battle for the fire!
Looking at your faces.
I got fire. I got water. Water beats fire.
Battle Beast!
Wood. Fire. Fire beats wood.
Battle Beast can grow into an army! Collect all 84! Battle Beast!
I saw that there was a log. I saw there was a log on one of those.
It's log.
Yeah.
That was the toy that I had when I was a kid. A freaking log.
I can tell you right now, even during that commercial as a kid, I remember going, wood, fire beats wood because it burns it. That makes sense. Fire, water puts out fire. And then wood beats water. Why?
Yeah,
Why does wood
on
beat
water?
It
but
floats on water. I guess that, or you use a dam or build a bridge over it. I never understood why wood beats water.
Why does paper beat rock? I mean, these are eternal questions that just don't have answers.
Face palm.
We need the answers.
Someone said wood dams up water.
I used to love this show.
Oh, so okay, great. I'm striking a
Wait
nerve
a minute.
here.
So, this says bionic what?
Bionic 6.
Bionic 6.
Okay.
Bionic 6.
Okay.
Ooh, ooh.
And the action figures for these things were actually pretty fucking cool because they had some really cool action figures. They were about the size of like a G.I. Joe and things like the revamped versions of G.I. Joe, not the original G.I. Joes that came out that were like 12 inches or 14 inches long, however big they were. But yeah, I used to have a ton of these things and I absolutely loved the cartoon. I thought it was awesome. And a lot of,
it was a great one.
Diversity there. I like seeing the diversity in the Bionic 6.
This is 1987 TMS Entertainment science fiction action series, 2 seasons. They did it at the beginning of 87 in spring, and then the fall of 87 was the second season. They never
So we're
saw
doing
1988.
Are we doing a Captain Planet ripoff here? Is that what's happening?
Well, this
it's so great.
Before Captain Planet, if I'm not mistaken.
This was before Captain Planet, and this
In
may have been the
87?
predecessor or something. This paved the way. I think I want to say Captain Planet was 1990 something, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
That sounds
Google
right.
that. Bring it up if you could.
Yeah,
but it was
I'll
65 episodes in total from 2 seasons in 1 year, and the toys were made by LJN Toys. This one was great because they were actual like die-cast metal toys, which was pretty cool because that was their bionic technology, and it was literally just like lead.
One of those toys.
If
you leave it outside on a hot day, you're gonna end up in the emergency room because
You are correct. Captain Planet came out September 15th, 1990. So this beat Captain Planet by 3 years.
Okay, so Captain Planet ripped this off.
That's right.
And apparently did it better.
Suck it, Captain Planet.
Yeah.
Captain Planets for pussies. So here we go. I love this because this whole family had bionic technology integrated into their, bodies. And it was funny because you're reading the backstory, like, oh, just a modern family on the vacation in the Himalayas. Wait, what?
They look like a family.
They are. So here's Dad. Dad, his name is Jack Bennett. He's the dad, and his call sign is Bionic 1, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
pretty cool. Over to his left, you see the shoulder length redhead. That's Mom. Her name is Helen Bennett, and her call sign is Mother One.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
they
no.
didn't even try too hard. Not much of
No.
a stretch there. To
I
her
put a lot of
left,
thought into there.
you're right. The diversity is so great. Then you got the son to the left. He's obviously wearing like a hard shell baseball helmet for batting, and he's got a baseball bat slung over his left shoulder. And there he is. His name is Eric Bennett. He is the son of Jack and Helen, and his call sign is
He's Bionic Bat.
no, pretty close though.
Let
Sport.
me
One.
guess. Bionic 2.
Nope, Sport One.
No.
That was his call sign.
Sport One.
Then you get into the daughter. The daughter right there with the big poofy hair is none other than named Meg Bennett. Shut up, Meg. She's the daughter of both Jack and Helen. And because she was kind of the wild child, she listened to rock music and heavy metal, and she was just
She's definitely
guitar.
got some 80s hair going on.
That's
yeah.
Gem. That's Gem.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you look at her. What do you think her call sign would be?
Bionic Blonde.
That's a pretty good guess. No, Rock One. Because she rocks and rolls and she likes to party.
Oh, she does.
Yeah, she
I
does.
bet she does.
She loves to party.
Let me ask you something. How racist do
go
we
ahead.
get with the kid who looks like maybe he's Asian and the kid who looks like he's maybe not Asian? I'll let you continue.
We're about to delve into that. So you see the far left of the screen, the African-American young gentleman. His name is James Dwight Corey. They called him JD. And he is the adopted son of
He's
Jack
friend of
and
the
Helen
family.
Bennett.
Okay.
No, he's literally the adopted son. And
I've seen
his
some
call
adult
sign,
movies that start this way. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yep.
Don't taint my
Stepmom.
childhood. His call sign was IQ because he was actually into amateur boxing. He's very sporty, but he was the brilliant brains of the operations. Like he was the one who would sort out and iron out all the problems that the family ran into in order to get out those tricky situations when everybody's pinned down. He was the one that had the answers for everything. He was kind of like the all-around Batman's utility belt.
He's Penny from Inspector Gadget.
There you go.
Then we come up to the very last guy, the very Asian/Oriental looking gentleman standing just to the right of Jack Bennett, right to the left of Meg Bennett. His
Also
name
adopted?
No, he's actually the foster son. He's not adopted. He's foster son. Right. His name is
He's not good enough to be adopted?
I don't know, man. I didn't write the story. I'm just reading you the stats here.
This is brutal.
I like Scott the Robot put his call
Fu
sign
One.
Kung Fu One. You're not too far off, Scott the Robot. His name is Bunjiro Tsukahara, and they called him Bunji for short. And he is the foster son, and his call sign is, if it's not Kung Fu One, what do you think it might be?
Karate One.
Nailed it!
No.
That's it. It's
No.
literally his call sign was karate.
No.
Yes.
Acceptable.
Oh, the last bow.
Oh, Karate One.
Literally
Is it really Karate One?
I'm not even shitting you. His name,
Oh
his
my
code
God.
name was Karate One, and they called him Bunji. Bunjiro. was his
Back
name.
when it was okay to put stereotypes on characters.
So what you're saying is nobody in here has the number 6 in their name.
Nope, nobody has the number 6 in their name. That would be too, I think, and devilish. I'm not sure.
That's a failure.
Yeah, that was a failure. But I'm really surprised that they just didn't come up with more clever names for,
Because you could have easily, if everybody was 6, you could have easily made the Asian kid. You could have made his name. You could have made his name Chopsticks. Right? This is gold.
I mean, they missed a golden opportunity, right? Swing and a miss. They're like, oh, Karate One. It'd be less ding, 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 ding. Love that. Yeah, that's
I
literally
think there's a place
Chopsticks.
down the
Would have been
street
a
from me
much better
called
call
Golden
sign.
Chopsticks.
That's probably where he works now with his bionic flipping skills for Szechuan.
Works down
I
at the
loved it, though.
local panda Express.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to apologize for that next week.
Metal. Die-Cast. Invincible. Introducing the Bionic 6 family, each implanted with bionic parts, giving them superhuman powers. Will the evil Dr. Scarab destroy the Bionic 6? The Bionic 6 from LJN.
LJN. So for those of you out there who are not familiar with LJN, they made a ton of toys. They actually made a lot of the early WWF toys as well. So back in the day, there used to be these rubber WWF toys with Hulk Hogan, the Iron Sheik, Andre the Giant, and then LJN actually went on to make a ton of really, really shitty Nintendo video games. And for those of you who are familiar with the Angry Video Game Nerd, I'm sure you've seen plenty of episodes he's done.
I love his content.
LJN. Gold. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
That's very good stuff. And last but not least, we round out the entire catalog with Tiger Sharks. Again, look at the animation. What universe do you think this is a part of? 1987 by Rankin Bass Productions.
Yep, same
Science
one.
Fiction action.
Yep.
It falls underneath the Thundercats, Silverhawks, and Tiger Sharks. Yep. All unconfirmed, a part of the same universe until they did the remake of Thundercats, which I think was running on Netflix for a little while, but they actually included these humanoid marine biology metamorphosized creatures in that story somewhere. So it kind of did allude to the fact that they were all connected by, you said, land, space, and sea. That was the trilogy. This one was the one I remember very, very vividly. It was 1987, one season, 26 episodes. So a little bit more than Black Star, because Black Star only had one season and 13 episodes. This one was supposed to tie in the whole thing to Silverhawks and Thundercats. And unfortunately, they missed the mark. Nobody wanted this crap. I loved it. I thought it was great, but it was not even a part of the daily lineup. It was a part of something that happened on Sunday mornings called the Comic Strip. Yep. And that consisted of Tiger Sharks, Street Frogs, the Mini Monsters, and Karate Cat.
This wasn't even its own show.
No, but they did have toys, but the toy line ran so limited that everything was basically a prototype, and all the vehicles that they were going to make and release, they never did. I cannot even find a commercial advertising these toys, but they did exist. Why? I know that I owned two of them. I think I owned the guy that turned into the whale, and I think I owned the guy that turned into... No, I owned three. I owned the guy named Dolph, who turned into a dolphin, the Orko guy, or Orca, whatever, he turned into the killer whale, and then Mako, the guy who turned into the freaking shark. Those are the three that I owned, and I got them from a store that has long since been out of business that they were releasing this merchandise in, called Montgomery Ward.
Oh yeah. Who wants to be the one to get the short end of the stick on this and be the guy who transforms into the walrus?
Yeah. He was
a shark. You're a manta ray. You're a walrus.
He's got a cane too. Like, what kind of a superhero walks with a cane?
His name is Dr. Walro.
Oh, it would be.
So yeah, I mean, but a funny thing, Tiger Sharks. He's a walrus, not a shark, surprisingly. But I actually liked these toys, and so because I couldn't find anything about it, I have to kind of visually demonstrate with you. So one of their arms, and I want to say it was their left arm, you had to literally take it and crank it all the way up, and then their head would come dislodged from the chest piece, and the back piece and chest piece, looking sideways, would open up like a clam. And the human head would rotate, and then the shark head or whatever the morphed head would pop out on a pendulum. It would just swing around, right, 180, and just... And then the chest and back piece would then close up like a clam around it to still form the body, the torso. But by cranking the left arm up and down, that's how you would make them change. And I wish I could find some footage of it, something on it, but there was absolutely nothing. So as kind of a nod to them, I at least put their theme song video on here so people might recollect what this is. And that's going to be what the next slide is.
We'll give it a lesson.
So if somebody was cranking the arm up and down...
What's that?
I had a terrible image in my head of one of these characters just cranking their arm up and down and their head just flipping.
And that's what you could do, literally, is up and down, the head would just spin continuously. It was so funny.
All right, let's see.
You got a tiger by the tail. Hold on, tiger sharks. Look for a spaceship with a sail and hold on, tiger sharks. Tiger sharks. Hold on, tiger sharks.
Yeah, motherfucker. So great. Love those toys. They were badass.
That show didn't do well.
It did not. It was really kind of garbage, and that was one of the last ones I remember kind of watching as in the way of cartoons until Disney Afternoon kind of sprang up into effect, and then that's where I kind of switched over from all those things. But these were toys, nostalgically, that meant something to me because they were my childhood, but they were long forgotten until I was like, you know what? I'm going to go see He-Man. That's a part of my childhood. I really kind of want to delve down this road of nostalgia and looking into just things that people may or may not remember. If anybody in the chat remembers, awesome.
And that was the thing too. Like when you're thinking about how you would compete for screen time back in the 80s and in the 90s, it was a lot different than it is today with all the different streaming services and everything else that kids have access to. Back then, there was a very small time slot if you were going to have a cartoon or something like that and be successful. And if you didn't click, then you were gone and lost to history at that point, because, you know, we'd all wake up Saturday mornings, we'd all sit down and we watch our Saturday morning cartoons. And for the most part, those couple of hours there in the morning when cartoons were running was really the only time you had to get your product across. And if you couldn't land with an audience within that time period, then you were gone. And then as time progressed, you know, into the 90s, then we had like the after school cartoons. You'd come home, we had Batman the animated series, and you know, you had DuckTales and
the Disney Afternoon.
And Chippendales, Rescue Rangers, and stuff like that. And so you started to see these cartoons branch out a little bit more, and you got more time slots for them. But back in the 80s, you didn't get a lot of cartoons during the week. It was on the weekends, and that was pretty much it. And so if you missed it, you missed it. That was it. You're not
Saturday morning cartoons.
Yep. You're not going to see it again. It's not like today where, oh, if you miss it, I can just go back and stream it later whenever I want to, or I can sit there and binge stream an entire series of something throughout the day. We didn't have those luxuries.
And how pissed were you when something else would come on, some world event, something, right? OJ and his white Broncos on every channel. I'm just trying to watch Thundercats. Okay. I don't care about this.
Right. You sit down Saturday morning and you watch your stories with your trough of cereal. I mean, that's how you had to start your weekend, man, before you could get out of your footy pajamas, go sliding up and down the halls, and you're like, all right, I'm ready to throw on some stuff, get on my bike, and go around the neighborhood and see who's willing to go out and cause trouble and putting Spokey Dokes on their wheels, or, you know, taking baseball cards and taping them to your frame so it went make it sound like a motorcycle.
Yeah,
those were the days, man.
Very small window there. All right. Well, hey, that was a great segment. It's time to move on, and we're going to cross the threshold here into something a little bit more adult. So if you've got some younger folks in the room and you don't want them to hear anything about some potentially adult content, then we'd advise you to take them out of the room or turn it off right now and come back to the rest of the episode later. Scoot. Yes. So
give it a pregnant pause.
Interesting that you say pregnant. All right.
What a segment.
How many of you are familiar with the adult film star / actress? And I use that term very, very loosely. Again, no pun intended. Or maybe a little bit. Bonnie Blue.
Blue.
Yep.
Nope. I don't know who that is. Nope.
Red Ryan is lying through his teeth.
Nope.
I've only heard her name mentioned about.
I've never heard of this person
in one day.
Right. So this was the adult film star who started off she started making some rounds about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, where she did a film where she ended up sleeping with 100 men in one day. And apparently sleeping with 100 men in a day is not depraved enough.
Well, it's not easy.
It's not easy, right? That she decided to then sleep with 1,000 men in a day. And so this is what this individual is known for. So
gross.
I'm apparently at some point during that 1,000 man buffet,
the smorgasbord. Is that what
her smorgasbord? Yes.
Was there a sneeze guard?
Yeah. She became pregnant. Now she's saying that she obviously doesn't know who the father is, and there was. I know, shocker, right? There was a recent video that started making the rounds this week that I wanted to share with you, and then we'll get into a couple of more. But I thought that this was very interesting. So if you guys would like to give this a listen, I'll play it now.
I have a baby shower on Saturday, next Saturday, and we turned my baby shower into a golden shower.
Why?
It's just fun. It's a twist on the baby shower. I'll be having sex with the people as well as, and it's going to be like a mixture of wholesome baby shower games, like the traditional trying for baby food.
Yeah, wholesome.
Along with other fluids added in there.
Now
Oh
I'm
my
uncomfortable.
God.
This is your baby. This is your child.
Yeah. Again, my body, this is what I'm choosing.
Do you not see that in any way as a denigration of your baby?
This is the problem with the internet today.
It is difficult because I don't want to have a baby shower.
It's difficult, she says, because she doesn't want to sexualize the baby.
Oh.
Maybe not add golden shower in there. I mean, just maybe start there.
Maybe not sleep with a bunch of dudes at your baby shower, for one. Now, when I saw this, I'm going to be honest. This made me incredibly upset to see somebody who is turning what should be a beautiful event into something that is so morally.
She's turning it into porn rage bait, is what she's doing.
100%.
That's her whole claim to fame is basically just porn rage bait.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. And you're going to, again, I'm thinking like, man, you're bringing a child into this world, you know, and look, kudos to you for actually bringing the child into the world. I'm not sold on how you did it, but
Petri dish.
you're right. But you're going to turn your baby shower into something so.
Anybody seen the movie Twins?
Yes.
The sperm milkshake.
Yes. I just, again, this is so unbelievably gross that I'm like, now, apparently she was out at a party recently. Now, mind you, she's pregnant. And this is what
Doesn't
she
seem to
was
bother her.
doing at the party she was recently at.
Oh, no.
You can see very clearly she's pregnant. She's obviously showing. I have such a flippin' problem with this individual. You're bringing a child into this world and you're sitting there doing shot after shot after shot while you're pregnant with absolutely zero regard to what that is going to do or has the potential to do to your child. On top of that, and look, I'm not giving the men a pass either. These men are fucking disgusting. These men are why women like her exist today. Because if there weren't sick, depraved men out there like this that were condoning this type of behavior, then there would be no space for women like this to exist. There would be no platform for women like this to exist. But because there are men out there that will consume this type of garbage and this type of content, there is a platform for women out there who are willing to do things like this, like drink while you're pregnant, post it on social media for everybody to see. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts on this?
No, go ahead, Redbeard. You take it.
Well, how do you even begin to describe the? I hate to be the one who's like, oh, this is morally disgusting. I think it's just disgusting. I mean, forget about, whether your notions are about, right or wrong or whatever. It's just gross.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that I don't think that she cares that she's pregnant. And there obviously is 100% disregard for this child. And, look, I guess we're just gonna, again, we're just gonna rage bait everything. That's everything that she does. Is she's probably trying to piss you off.
Oh, absolutely. She knows exactly what she's doing. That's her
She's
shtick.
trying to piss you off. And basically it's like, you ever see these videos that's like, it'll be, some lady, she'll be doing a TikTok, and then, oh, whatever it is, she'll be like, oh, I just need some money to feed my baby. And then like, she'll show you the baby and the baby's crying. And it's just like, you're gonna use this child for what? I mean, like, I assume this is all money driven, right? You're gonna get a payday out of this. You're gonna exploit a child, in this case an unborn child,
and you're putting the child's health at risk.
Absolutely. We're just gonna exploit the children. And well, it looks like we're all having a party, we're all having a good time. That kid is someday going to be 18 years old and not going to be able to go to college because everybody's going to know who that kid is, and just be mocked for the rest of eternity.
Yeah. And I mean, what do you think her reaction or her response would be if she found out that because of her actions, because she's sitting there drinking while she's pregnant and doing all these disgusting things, that she finds out that there's something wrong with the child? What do you think she would do?
Probably abort.
Probably. Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, who knows? She doesn't seem to be a good human.
No, she doesn't seem to be morally centered at all. I would wager to bet that this person doesn't even have much of a soul. But Sergeant Grumpy Pants, what do you think about the men involved in this type of activity?
They are pouring gasoline on a very volatile situation. They're literally just fanning the flames of this grotesque behavior. Some of the comments here I agree with. From Massage Bodywork, it says, she doesn't care about herself, nor does she care about the baby or the people she sleeps with. She's the embodiment of Jezebel. Scott the Robot goes on to say, so gross. It's literally, I mean, it's almost just, there are no words other than just, ew. Ugh.
It's a level of depravity that is hard to understand.
Well, from, I mean, okay, let's look at normal on a spectrum here. Am I normal? Probably not, compared to a lot of other people where they look at me and they're like, dude, you're weird. Yeah, I get it. But am I this level weird? No. There's a spectrum here, and she's definitely on it. And she's definitely on the very, very far side, one way or another, where if you think it's okay to drink while you're pregnant and endangering the baby that is growing and trying to get nutrients off of you, inside of you, and you are otherwise causing, I mean, the bottle says could cause abnormality, birth defects, harmful to baby or fetus, however the Surgeon General's warning is on this thing. It's the same thing with a pack of cigarettes, right? For smoking mothers. It's just, there is no sense of right or wrong with this individual. So it's completely lost on me. I just do not understand this. This is another level of crazy that I can just simply write off and say, well, that sucks for them. It's not my life, but it sucks for them. I don't agree with their choices, but I don't know what to say or do beyond that. She ain't going to be my wife.
Very true. I mean, I think it's a symptom of the type of world we're living in today. You know, we talk a lot about this, and you know, we've talked about what does it mean to be a good man? What does it mean to be a good father? What does it mean to be a good mother? You know, and to be a good woman. And I see none of this here. It's like literally a sneak peek into Sodom and Gomorrah by watching this stuff take place. And again, it's, you know, for men to, I keep going back to that. Is she to blame? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh,
but
100%.
There would not be a market for this if men stopped consuming it, if men stopped endorsing this type of behavior. You see plenty of men in the video here, you know, that are around her, slamming up against her and, you know, in mock physical acts and encouraging her to drink. Like, not one of these men said, you know, and I again, I'm using the term men very loosely. These are boys. These are, you know, perverted young
males of the species.
Yeah, I mean, these are not men in any sense of the word. You know, watching this woman consuming tons and tons of alcohol while she's pregnant with this child, and I just don't see how you're not even giving this child, you know, this kid a chance. This kid hasn't even been born yet, and you're not even giving them a chance at a good life, because there's so many obstacles that you're putting in front of them before they're even born, knowingly, willingly, and intentionally putting these obstacles in front of your child before they're even born that they're going to have to overcome. What happens if the child doesn't want this type of life, doesn't want that type of attention? It doesn't matter, because you've put that on them. You've put that stigma on them. You've put those roadblocks in front of them. Now that they've, you know, have to overcome. Life is hard enough without all these added things that, you know, you would have to overcome. But intentionally doing something like this, just, I don't know, it turns my stomach.
I will say, and this is probably going to be the last thing I say about this, because it's just, it's gross. Anybody who supports her, women specifically, they're like all about the sisterhood. Well, she's living her best life. It's her body. It's her choice. She could do what she wants, yada, yada, yada. Knowing that the ramifications of her actions could potentially harm the child inside of her, she plans on carrying to full term. Well, then if you're okay with that, then you should have absolutely no problem with what Casey Anthony did.
You know, it's funny you say that, because, you know, when we start, I see a comment in here by Massage Bodywork, and she says, another reason why certain groups of people want late-term abortion. And I hear this all the time, and we're actually, the next story that I'm going to go into here talks about that just a little bit. Well, no, late-term abortion, that's something that conservatives or Republicans say, like, nobody's asking for these late-term abortions. Well, that's just absolutely not true. You know, there are absolutely people out there that have no problem with late-term abortions. And I'm somebody who considers himself pro-life. I think growing up, I might have had more liberal views around this, but as I got wiser and got older, I am very much a proponent of life and pro-life and that cause. I just can't wrap my head around doing something like that to an unborn child.
Valid.
Well, I mean, we've gotten to a place where but there's a sizable enough contingent in our society that doesn't recognize a baby in the womb as, you know, a living human. You know, it's subject to the whim of the mother, and that's it. Period. Doesn't matter. you know, and I disagree with that, but you know, it's become extremely commonplace for, you know, that to be you know, something that is just is very normalized, as normalized as it can be, I guess. I mean, I don't understand it.
Yeah. Well, and this was kind of a segue into this. I don't know. This story's been making the rounds this week. So this is a popular YouTuber by the name of Jesse Ridgway, and Jesse Ridgway recently announced a few months back that he and his wife were going to be having a baby and that they were pregnant. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull up this video now. This is the news they got. Now, mind you, this couple is 5 months into their pregnancy.
Here we go. So we're going to see the result. I have to download the official report. Abnormal insight result. Consistent with trisomy 21. No.
What is it? Wait. Where are you seeing this?
No.
Let me see. I can't see it.
It says abnormal insight result. Follow-up showed 3 chromosome 21 signals consistent with trisomy 21 Down syndrome. Genetic counseling is recommended. Pattern consistent with trisomy 21.
Don't give up hope.
The couple found out 5 months into their pregnancy that the baby has Down syndrome. And so this story in and of itself probably wouldn't have started making the rounds if that's where the story ended. But unfortunately, it didn't. And the couple announced earlier this week that they were going to be aborting that child once they found out that the child had Down syndrome. Now, this, mind you, this is 5 months into the pregnancy. 5 months. So the Hodge twins reported on this earlier this week, and it said YouTuber Jesse Ridgway and wife terminated pregnancy after Down syndrome diagnosis. The couple chose to abort their baby after learning the child had Down syndrome. This is a brutal reality of modern choice. Many now treatable diseases as justification for ending a life. Children with Down syndrome are some of the most loving and joyful people on earth. And I couldn't agree with them more. Jesse went on to say after they made this announcement public that I've never seen so much hate and vitriol for two people grieving the loss of their unborn child and making an impossible decision. Now, the thing that stuck out to me about that post was that he acknowledges in that post that it's a child. It's not a clump of cells. We're not making that argument. They're making the statement that it's an unborn child. What are your thoughts on that, gentleman, so far?
Comments real quick. Blake's Pipes says baby deletion is just another way to ensure women are not held accountable. And then Blake's Pipes just chimed in right now. It says, I would never want a woman that was my sorry. Let me reread that. I would never want a woman that was my child to have a deletion. But I also do not think it's possible in today's standards to make it illegal. Just wanted to throw that out there because of the comments. I just want this to go unrecognized, especially as it's on the topic.
Yep. It's you're right. It's probably something that since this was pushed back to the states, you're going to have states like California that will never make abortion illegal, and I think that's unfortunate. And the reason I have such a problem with this is because when we're talking about term limits, like what should be a term limit for abortion or things like that. It doesn't seem to me that they want any term limits up to the point of birth is what you hear quite a lot, and that's disturbing. I don't know I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, look, in this case, it's what does he say? I've seen such a hate vitriol for two people grieving the loss of their unborn child. Look, I mean, threatening or any kind of like violence or anything like that. Like let's tone that down. I think we can all agree that that's a tragedy, right? Like, obviously, she or they don't think that they can. It makes me wonder. Like, it makes me wonder what's going on in somebody's head. You know, you think, oh well, I can't do this, or oh, this kid won't have a good life, and it's just like, yeah. I mean, I think many of us know people who are or have children who are have Down syndrome, and these are happy people. I mean, like I don't understand uh I don't understand the idea of like, oh, this is like some kind of like insurmountable thing to have a baby that's Down syndrome. Like, I think that's extremely far from a reason to even consider, oh, let's terminate this pregnancy. Like, how does that? I can't even imagine connecting those dots.
And for context, if you're watching, this is what a 5-month baby looks like in the womb. This is not a clump of cells. This is a living being inside the womb. And to think of what has to be done in order to remove that is
you don't want to know.
Absolutely barbaric. And so, I feel like the hate that this couple is getting is absolutely justified, to the point that it seems like they're utilizing this again as almost a form of like rage bait. They're using it to drive additional content, to their social media platforms and everything else. Now, are they grieving on some level? Maybe. But I also think that, as a man, you failed. Like, you failed your wife if you told her that this was an option that was okay, instead of stepping up to the plate and doing the right thing. You failed as a man.
Like, what can possibly be the excuse? This is going to be hard.
Right. Of course. I mean, of course it's going to be hard. Nobody's saying
life's hard. Life sucks. Sorry.
No one's saying that it's not going to be hard.
Betty Davis was famously quoted, life's not for pussies.
No, absolutely not. And for those of you guys who have been following the Cigar Titans for some time, you'll know that, Brother Stogie, his oldest son has Downs, and he is an amazing human being. And I think this is some of the stuff that you're missing out on.
Wow.
It's a sad world we live in when, what is considered popular and the people we lift up in this world are the people who are out there sleeping with 1,000 men in a day, drinking while they're pregnant, choosing to deny their 5-month-old child in the womb a chance at life because, God forbid, that life inconvenience your own in any way. These are some of the most selfish, egotistical, self-righteous people out there that, it's just like, what's happened? What world are we living in today, guys?
It's exactly the opposite of the kind of people who would go and storm the beaches of Normandy on D-Day.
That's a great way of contrasting the way this started, the way this episode started, and where we're at. You know, men back then, you know, they strap up their boots and they'd run head on into certain death on a beach, you know, while they leave their family, their wives, their children at home. You know, they sacrifice literally everything for the country. We were even joking about it earlier, like when we're watching, you know, we're looking at older pictures of men that are coming off of that boat, right? We were talking about the brass balls on the photographer that's standing in that boat that's trying to
doesn't
capture
even have a gun.
Right, doesn't have a gun, is just trying to capture that shot where bullets are zipping by their head, and their brothers in front of them are falling down in the water, you know, right in front of them. And then you have men that, you know, today that are out there slamming up against porn stars and, you know, encouraging them to drink while they're pregnant and telling their wives that, yeah, this is just going to be too difficult of a situation for us. God forbid this inconvenience our lives. Let's get rid of this child. Like, man, it's just, as a society, like we have gone so far in the opposite direction, you know, and men in particular. I hold a lot of these men accountable for these decisions, because your wife most of the time will follow. If you're a good, supportive husband who says, I've got you, no matter what, we're going to make it through this together. I don't care what the diagnosis is. We're going to make sure that we give this child a chance at life, and I'm going to be there to support you and this baby no matter what, are the kind of men we need today. Not this soft soy boy pussy shit that we see.
We live in a time of extreme comfort, right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of that's baked into, you know, just baked into our society, into life. But you have to do hard things. You have to pick up the heavy stuff. You have to do the things that you don't think that you can do, because those are the things that build you up. Those are the things that give you confidence, give you character, build you as a man. And those are the things that prepare you to take on a challenge, so that your wife doesn't have to go through what might potentially be the worst thing that she's ever had to do.
Absolutely. Sergeant Grumpy Pants, what can men do to be better today?
Definitely take a hard, long look in the mirror. As we're talking about this, I'm sitting here recollecting my thoughts from the past, and I, at one point in time, was very much a pro-choice advocate. I could see it from the perspective of, you know, it's okay to abort a baby as long as there's something debilitating with it, right? Because then it's going to have to live off of these resources, and people might not be able to afford it, yada, yada. But that was a very immature look. And I had this opinion before I had children. And I remember a discussion with my dad where I told him this is how I felt. And he sat down and we had a conversation, and he said, listen, what about, and this is a family member of mine, what about this person who will remain nameless? But this person was born with special needs. And he said, does that person not deserve a fair shake at life? Do they not deserve that opportunity? And I said, well, no, I mean, obviously everyone deserves a chance at life. He's like, right. So can you imagine if this person wasn't born, even as little as you see them, can you imagine them not being a part of your life? And I said, you know what, honestly, no, because even though they had special needs, and they still have special needs, they just make life better. It's nice to be able to look through that lens of optimism and hope, and just pure unadulterated joy and childlike enthusiasm that they have. And I can't imagine my life without this person, this family member of mine who has special needs, because they are just a breath of fresh air every time I talk to them. And it really did kind of change my perspective on this, right? And this was before I even had children of my own. And so when I started looking at it through that lens, it really did help reshape and remold. And that was advice from my father, who has never been pregnant, who never had a say whether or not I was able to be born, if my mother wanted to abort me or anything like that. I'm not saying that she did, but if she wanted to, ultimately they say, well, as a woman's body, her choice. Men have absolutely zero say in this. But you're okay with forcing them into being a parent, right? They're on the hook for 18 years of child support regardless because, well, it's the man's responsibility until the woman says otherwise. And I think Dave Chappelle said it best in his comedy stand-up when he's like, listen, if women could kill these motherfuckers, I should be able to at least abandon them. My money, my choice. Now, that's from a very satirical, comedic standpoint of this whole thing. But it's a very compelling argument, right? When do men actually have the opportunity to speak up and say, I want to be a father? And the mother is like, well, I don't want to be a mother. What choice do they have? And let's just say they're in a loving, married, consenting adult relationship and she just never really wanted to have children, but he did. He wanted to be a father. Where does he get to have those parental rights? And as I've gotten older, it's taken a lot of hard, long looks in the mirror to say, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I did look at the glass half empty as opposed to seeing it half full. And that's how I try to look at life now, is through that lens of optimism. The glass is half full. At least you have something. And I don't like the argument where most of these people say, well, it's a woman's body, her choice. And if you're so pro-life, then why are you okay with passing death penalties for people on death row? Well, there's a very, very different, stark contrast between those two. An unborn child has no choice. They didn't even get an opportunity to live life and be happy. And most of the time, I'm not going to say most of the time, a percentage of the time, when these tests come back, whether or not your child's going to have some sort of deformity or Down syndrome or whatever the case may be, some of these tests can be wrong.
Yeah.
Right? They're not 100% true. See it all the way through. Right? It's hard because you got to put yourself in their shoes, right? And see what they're going through. It's a very, very difficult situation. But I don't like when they say, well, what about you being pro-life? And people on death row, they had their chance. They had their opportunity to be a decent human being. And through bad choices, they negated that right.
Right.
well,
Because
where does it stop?
Right. Where does it stop?
Right. Like, oh, are we going to say, oh, well, we're doing abortions for kids who, have Down syndrome. Oh, totally acceptable. What's next? Are we going to do abortions for, kids who are, maybe they've got, they're going to be little people. They're going to be, I don't know what the right term is for it right now. We used to say midget, but apparently that's a bad word. Dwarfism, we're not going to have a totally perfect baby. My baby's not going to have blue eyes. I'm going to abort. My baby,
Right.
I mean, what's the limit?
I wanted a son. I got a daughter. Oh, well.
And that's the other thing too, and something to think about, right? And I think this, at some level, some of us can relate to this probably a little bit more. What happens when science gets to a point to where we can determine through genetics that an individual may succumb to some disease in the future that may not necessarily be prevalent in their earlier years of life, right? And do we deny that person a right at or a chance at life because, hey, look, in 20 years, this person's going to have this condition, and do we say nope? In 20 years, if they're going to have that condition, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to choose to end it here. Or do you think, oh, well, in 20 years, it won't be my problem, and just let them, let it go and see where everything lands. But, at some point, we're eventually going to get to that point where we can tell genetically, like, hey, like this person's going to have a genetic or a condition, do you deny them life now because we know that they're going to be struggling with this when they get older?
Well, we have to stop pretending like life is somehow without pain, right? Like the hard things, the painful things, the stuff that you've experienced in your life, the bad stuff that's happened to you, the things that hurt the most, they're all a part of what makes you you. There's nobody out there. There's nobody out here. There's nobody out here who's had just full on Nerf life. Nothing bad ever happened to you. You never got sick. You never had anything. Nothing ever bad happened to you. Oh man, that's you want to deny somebody life because you're saying, oh well, something bad might happen.
Right.
Okay. I mean, this is a thing that's going on in our society today. Is people aren't getting married and they aren't having babies, and a big reason for that is because people are scared that something bad might happen. They're scared that somebody's going to leave them. They're scared that just anything and everything. Right? They're scared of everything. Scared of everything. That's what I wanted to that was the lesson that I wanted to see come out of that He-Man movie was to be was to stand up and be brave and face life and face the challenges, right? Instead the moral of that movie essentially boils down to, well, you had it all within you all along and you're special just the way that you are. Stop it. Come on.
Right.
Stand up, be brave. Quit
preemptively deterring.
Quit being a baby. You got to take chances. You got to take risks. That's not to say that you don't prepare for that stuff, but who's out here with the perfect life? Not me.
Right.
That's why I love our generation. We built ramps out of rickety plywood and cinder blocks and launched off those things with sissy bars and banana seats and no helmets. And we're still alive to tell the tale. We drank from garden hoses when it was 100-degree weather, and those water just came out, and it was like a geyser. It was super hot, right? But the preemptively deterring things is like the movie Minority Report. They're arresting people before the crimes even happen because they know that they're going to happen. They're just going to go ahead and put the kibosh on it right there. Well, I didn't do anything yet.
But you have the propensity to.
Right.
Well, gentlemen, really good talk around that. I thought that I would end us on a lighter note here, so I'm gonna share a video here that will take us out. But I appreciate your time today. It's another great episode of Smoke Signals and Side Quest. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, we are going to be moving. We've got one more episode that'll be airing live on the Cigar Titans YouTube channel next Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then after that, we're actually going to be moving over to the Smoke Signals and Side Quests YouTube channel. So if you want more of this type of content, make sure you go over. That's right. Make sure you go over there and like and subscribe and check us out for future live episodes. We go live every Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
Good stuff.
As well. Thank you so much, guys.
This is a California compliant AK-47. Now, in order to make the most important thing is how the gun identifies. In California, the easiest way to meet this threshold is simply to identify as legal. Now, let's talk about a few other things that make this gun California compliant. Number one, this 30-round mag only identifies as 5 rounds. But you can't stop there, because if you are not virtue signaling the inclusivity, that it's considered a hate crime in California, because they can only assume that you just want to use your guns for hate crime. This, they know, is an inclusive gun. Therefore, it's only going to be used for inclusive purposes. Now, if you look closely, you can also see this does not identify as a gun. It identifies as a squirt gun. It also has that little bear insignia on the butt and says just the tip, because why not? We normally start with this just to give people a heads up, but right by the trigger, because it does have a trigger on it, we have a trigger warning. So if you are going to get triggered by that trigger, which that's okay, you will get triggered by triggers. Triggers are triggering. They trigger me. Every time I'm playing with this, I'm always like, bang. It's so loud. It's so scary. That's why there's a trigger warning right there for you. It's going to be triggering. Now, when the safety is on a California compliant gun, what that means is not that the gun is not loaded. It means that you are in a safe space. All you have to do is, boom, you hear that click, you're in a safe space. Now, there's one other requirement in California. You do have to have a trigger lock on at all times, because shooting a gun in California is illegal. However, a way around that is when you load the gun ideally in California would remain unloaded at all times. Never load your guns. It's very dangerous loading guns. You don't want a loaded gun in California. That's how burglars get hurt. I know it seems like overkill. It seems like the most inclusive gun you've ever seen, but that is what it takes to meet the threshold of California legal. So let me know what you think in the comments. This was literally billions of dollars in R&D that we had to pour into this bad boy right here. If you live in California and you want to support local law enforcement, you want to give them their gun back so they don't have to walk around with a little silly wooden gun anymore, you can sponsor one of their inclusion jobs here. And all you have to do is just go to your Sarah Coat shop and you tell them you want inclusive pink, inclusive green, inclusive yellow, inclusive orange, and inclusive white. That's the most important one, because some whites are not very inclusive at all. You don't want the non-inclusive white. You have to get inclusive white. If you get non-inclusive white, it changes the whole feel of the gun. It's just it's so gross. Yeah, I think that's basically it. You have everything you need to create a compliant assault weapon in the state of California now. You're welcome. This is a California compliant AK-47. Now, in order to make an assault weapon California compliant,